Could be happening in your area. By the way, the Atlanta tornado watch, that goes until 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time.
And again, if you're a type of person who is a deep sleeper, sleep in your safe room, sleep in the basement, take the kids down there, make it a party, get some popcorn, so they don't worry, and hopefully things will pass by in the night. But if you're not going to wake up to your TV or perhaps your phone going off, you need to take a plan of action right now to keep you and your family safe. And again, this will continue overnight. And then once again, we're not done. In fact, this severe threat will continue into Thursday. And one thing we haven't talked a lot about yet so far the last couple hours is the huge and extreme flash flood event that is ongoing as well. Because these thunderstorms not only producing tornadoes, they are dumping devastating amounts of rain in a short amount of time. And day after day after day, we could see perhaps 3 to 5 to 8 inches of rain as we head through Thursday, and that will and already is causing widespread flooding as well. We
want to get an update on an active tornado warning where emergency management has reported seeing a tornado. This is in Winston County, Alabama. Let's bring in severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes and Jim Cantore tracking these dangerous storms, guys, that are closing in on the Birmingham area.
Yeah, nice to see them in a watch. Obviously now they're alerted. They know they're going to have to make preparations to deal with this at night. And you mentioned the rainfall, Paul. Huntsville Weather Service reports 5.5 inches an hour out of a couple of those cells up there. So not surprising, the flash flood warnings. All right, so we're going to go south to north with these storms, Greg Forbes. Let's start in Mississippi.
Yeah, and you can see now just about every storm from south of Jackson all the way up into north and west of Birmingham has tornado warnings on it or severe thunderstorm warnings, and some have flash flood warnings as well. So starting south and east of Jackson with a southernmost tornado warning. Rankin County there around the Puckett area that has a possible tornado. Now this one it looks like the kind of situation where the tornado could be in a situation that's a little bit like a comma cloud situation where the tornado is up in that northern edge. It's not an extremely well-defined circulation showing up. But still tornado warning. Nothing here that is looking overly impressive in terms of the tornado signature.
Would it be in the rain?
Well, it's a good question.
On the way behind.
It's a good question whether or not we have any tornado there. It may be right in this area, right in the north edge of the gust front.
Not a strong signature.
Not a strong signature showing up. Slide off to the next one to the north and east.
That
one is a lot better.
We have a tornado that's been down around the Winston area.
Newton County, you have a tornado warning here. This is the storm that has come all the way from Jackson, Mississippi, eastbound along in I-20 and Highway 80s. And this is the one that has this long gust front appearance to it with the northwest flow. It has a circulation. There's the tornado vortex signature that's showing up here. It has passed the lake area just to the north of Lake. Now it is north and west of Newton, south and east of Conahatta. It is in Newton County heading, it's going to go just north of the Newton area. It's going to go in across areas very much here. Now this one is definitely rain wrapped. And this one I may be able to pull up on the high definition radar.
And this about 3.5 to 4 miles north of the interstate, just to give you an idea, north of Interstate 20. So we're seeing it move a little bit farther away from the interstate now.
And so the circulation is located right about here with the counterclockwise rotation showing up right in about this location. So there is the tornado. It is coming toward Decatur in Mississippi. It's going to miss Newton to the north, but is going to get very, very close to the Decatur area. Want to see if we have any no debris signature showing up on this one. So there is definitely a circulation there. This is definitely a rain-wrapped tornado if there is indeed a tornado that's in progress.
And for the folks watching us in Meridian, this should probably pass just to the north of you.
Yeah, let's slide on, Sarah, to the next storm up the line here. Getting close to the DeKalb, Alabama area. This one has come east out of the Philadelphia, Mississippi area now. Kemper and Neshoba counties. I'm sorry, this is still in Mississippi. Kemper and Neshoba counties in Mississippi. Again, I'm thinking here that the tornado circulation may be back, that we're getting a gust front that has come out and leaving a little circulation, these little dog legs, sometimes we call them line echo wave patterns in the line. Do we have a velocity on this one to check on this one? Yeah, we're sort of in between the radar signatures, in between the radars far enough that it's hard to see the signatures on this one. Looks as if this is the main one. Go back to the reflectivity there, Sarah, and we'll take a look at that one. Out on the leading edge of the line here, right where the dog leg takes place, is where the tornado appears to be.
But your point earlier, these are going to be short-lived, and you're not going to be able to see these more than likely.
Yeah,
right?
These are certainly not the kind of idealized textbook kind of supercell thunderstorms that we have had earlier with debris balls. These are getting to be marginal kind of tornado situations, some that are hard to see. Let's slide up, Kemper and Neshoba, let's go up to the next one, up the line, Sarah. These are ones that are getting harder to see and harder to detect. The rotations are not as strong in general. We could still get a few stronger circulations, but getting a little bit harder to detect. Again,
wow, that's kind of crazy.
It's again getting very hard to detect the circulations. There's definitely some shear along that whole line of storms. Go back to the yeah, so right along that whole line there, we have some circulations along the leading edge of the rainfall, but it looks as if the National Weather Service also thinking that this is getting less well-defined, so going over to the Aliceville, Alabama area with a severe thunderstorm warning.
Is that going to be north of Tuscaloosa, do you think, with the current way it's moving? Or
well, I think it's going to,
or pretty close.
It's hard to say. The whole line may sag south, so it could get pretty close to the Tuscaloosa
I'm just trying to give those folks an idea of what, what to look at on the radar, because they're going to be watching.
We know that there's a storm coming toward Tuscaloosa, trying to predict exactly where the tornado is going at this point. We don't even know that for sure that there's a tornado. So,
well, or even that
trying to specifically predict, I wouldn't try to do it.
Okay, so you can
let's go up to the north and east, the Samantha area. This one has had a little bit better circulation on that. It also has a little bit better appendage down to the south and west. Let's have a look at the velocity on this one, Sarah. And this one definitely a much better, easier detection on this one. These are the storms, I believe, then that we're beginning to see that we are coming out of the Birmingham office, that we may have had some tornadoes on. The Samantha area, Highway 43, west of Windham Springs, coming toward Windham Springs. You have a possible tornado. Slide one more off to the north there, Sarah. Areas east of Berry, Fayette, Tuscaloosa counties, and then off to the north, Fayette County. Slide one more, Sarah, up to the areas east of Carbon Hill, Fayette and Walker counties. Stay safe out there, everyone.
19 years ago, we thought, wow, how is there no way to tell the good from the bad? So we gave people the power of the review. And now Angie's List is revolutionizing local service again. You can easily buy and schedule services from top-rated providers. Conveniently stay up to date on progress and effortlessly turn your photos into finished projects with our SnapFix app. Visit angieslist.com today.
Hey, what you doing today? I'm riding down the highway. I'm just rolling, just like that.
The great thing about a Subaru is you don't have to put up with that new car smell for long.
I saw you.
The versatile 2015 Subaru Forester.
Hey, what you doing today?
Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Severe storms across the country affecting millions. Trust the power of the Weather Channel to keep you safe and informed.
We're looking down the possibility of some more severe weather upcoming.
Get the first word on the weather ahead.
Jim, brand new information I know is all coming out
on a special edition of AMHQ tomorrow morning at 7, only on the Weather Channel.
A flash flood watch is in effect. Currently in our area, 69 degrees with showers. Tonight, strong to severe thunderstorms likely. Storms may produce large hail and strong winds. Low 58. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Get the first word on the severe storms across the country.
We are on red alert this morning with breaking news.
On a special edition of AMHQ tomorrow morning at 7, only on the Weather Channel.
In the nation, it's not always pretty. But add brand new belongings from Nationwide Insurance, and we'll replace destroyed or stolen items with brand new versions. We take care of the heat, so you don't get burned. Just another way we put members first, because we don't have shareholders. Join the nation.
Nationwide is on your side.
Come on, buddy, arms up.
Why do you have to put on a sweater?
Because we are going out to brunch.
Why?
Because it's Mother's Day, and on Mother's Day, sometimes you have to wear things that you don't like to wear. And now we get to drive and sit in traffic, go to a fancy restaurant, and order a bunch of overpriced entrees that are really small. Things like quiche, which is egg pie, believe it or not.
Make her Mother's Day meal special by making it yourself.
All right, guys, keeping an eye on these tornado warnings, which continue to pepper the state of Alabama and now up into the Tennessee border. Let's go to this storm, Greg Forbes, in Winston County, where there has been a tornado sighted around Poplar Springs, 8 miles west or east of Lynn. Yeah, that one still has a very well-defined hook echo showing up on that. We're talking about areas now generally south and east of the Double Springs area. Addison, Arley, and Double Springs have the tornado warning on that. Oh, yeah. Right down in the southwest edge of the tornado warned area is where the tornado vortex signature is showing up in the Doppler radar. So that probably is the strongest of the radar signatures velocity signatures we're seeing now. And that one is going to generally head its way up toward the Cullman, Alabama area. The circulation right down there crossing Highway 195 and heading generally up toward the area of Crane Hill with the possibility of tornadoes showing up quite strongly there. This is a series of tornadoes that are showing up in the areas north and west of the Birmingham area. One right about there, another that is over in the Berry area south of Berry. So let me go to the high definition radar and we'll take a look at a couple of these. These look a little bit better too, by the way. Yeah, these are still a lot better than the ones that are to the south, but that said, things could change. Here it's a little bit far from the radar, but we'll take a look at this one. There is the circulation showing up here. So we're talking about a tornado that's heading up toward the Arley area. And then I'll slide down to the next storm, and we're down into the area south of Berry with another hook echo that's showing up here, well defined and maybe even better defined than the ones in the north. Of course, it's a little closer to the radar to make it easier to see. This one is showing some velocity signatures there. I think we've gotten maybe a little bit out of phase between the radar normal return and the velocity. So I'm expecting the tornado to be right about in there. And my guess is Sarah has that one ready. We'll slide to that one on our conventional way of looking at the radar and take a look at that one. So we're talking about the storm that's Fayette and Tuscaloosa counties areas. Yeah, slide up a little bit, Sarah. Down to there it is. The Fayette and the Tuscaloosa areas around the Samantha, the Wyndham Springs area with a possibility of tornado. And here is the best circulation there, although it does have a bit of a gust front kind of thing to it. So there are more than one circulations that show up, but the strongest one probably in that area. Okay, that's definitely. Going east at about 50 miles per hour, so that would be places like Wyndham Springs, about 821, the Little Shoal, the Gilmore areas, as this circulation heads east. Again, guys, very heavy rain with these two. You notice there's, maybe on the leading edge of this, a tornado warning that Greg's been detailing, but there's a lot of rain with these as well. And I'm going to come back to the high definition radar on this one because as I was sitting here looking, as Jim was talking, I do notice that this one does have a debris circulation now. So while it does not have a debris ball, there's certainly precipitation there, and it certainly looks like the tornado is located in this circulation right about in there, and it definitely has a correlation coefficient, a debris signature that is showing up. So very likely to be a tornado in this circulation. Let's move on. So we're talking Fayette, Tuscaloosa. I believe there's a tornado in progress there in the areas generally north and east of Samantha. All right, so that tornado warning, obviously, or watch, I should say, for Birmingham coming out at the appropriate time. We can't say those cells are still going to be producing tornadoes as they are now, but something to watch. Tornado continues for Kemper County around
around the DeKalb area and heading toward the Scuba area. Slide it the next one quickly down to the south, Sarah, and we'll see that this the next storm here, Newton County,
go south,
slide
go
the
I-20 storm.
Slide another one. Still tornadoes down for Jasper, Scott, and Smith counties. This is the one that's come out of the Jackson area. Actually, this is one that's south of I-20.
South of I-20.
And so we continue to have the worst of the storms now across parts of Alabama and down into Mississippi, and they'll continue to march themselves east overnight. Stay safe.
Do you have something for pain?
I have Bayer aspirin.
I'm not having a heart attack. It's my back.
I mean Bayer Back and Body. It works great for pain.
Bayer Back and Body provides effective relief for your tough pain.
Better?
Yeah. Thanks for the tip.
So now you're bringing Bridgestone's tire technology to the sports world in the form of this performance soccer ball?
That's right. The same extreme grip and performance technology we engineer into our Potenza tires is being tested here with the help of U.S. soccer star Alex Morgan.
Seriously? Little too much grip.
Yeah, well, it does make for a great tire.
At Bridgestone, our passion for performance knows no bounds.
At Residence Inn, you have room to spread out. Room to play. Room to chill. Room to dream sweetly. And room to unwind. Because it's not a room, it's a residence. Residence Inn.
Guys, you're not going to believe this.
Watch this. Sam always gives you the good news in person, bad news in email.
Good news. FedEx has flat rate shipping. It's called FedEx One Rate, and it's affordable.
Yeah. That's great, Nick.
And we have to work the weekend. Great.
More good news. It's Friday.
Woo! Ship a pack via FedEx Express Saver for as low as $7.50.
Severe storms across the country affecting millions. Trust the power of the Weather Channel to keep you safe and informed.
We're looking down the possibility of some more severe weather upcoming.
Get the first word on the weather ahead.
Jim, brand new information I know is all coming out
on a special edition of AMHQ tomorrow morning at 7, only on the Weather Channel.
I love my pets, and I would do anything for them. But that doesn't mean I have to overpay for their medications. That's why I always order from 1-800-PET-MEDS.
Protect your pets from fleas, ticks, and heartworms with the same exact medications as the vet for less. And now save even more. An additional 10% on all flea and tick topicals. Plus, shipping is fast and free.
I get everything I need at 1-800-PET-MEDS.
Call 1-800-PET-MEDS or visit 1-800-PETMEDS.com.
Get the first word on the severe storms across the country.
We are on red alert this morning with breaking news.
On a special edition of AMHQ tomorrow morning at 7, only on the Weather Channel.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by CenturyLink, Data, Voice, Cloud, Managed Services.
Weekdays are for rising to the challenge. They're the days to take care of business, when possibilities become reality. With CenturyLink as your trusted partner, our visionary cloud infrastructure and global broadband network free you to focus on what matters. With custom communication solutions and responsive, dedicated support, we constantly evolve to meet your needs every day of the week. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
things first. Starting off in Tennessee border. Good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, I should say. Jim Cantore, Dr. Forbes here, talking about the storms. And it's interesting, I was just telling Dr. Forbes before we went to the last break, you know, this is difficult because as we're talking about a couple of storms, there's new warnings coming out. So literally we have a line of tornado-producing storms from the Tennessee, Alabama area all the way down to southwest Mississippi.
Or at least a line of storms capable of producing tornadoes, well, and then in 5 minets they produce a tornado, and then they stop, and another one produces a tornado. We're not getting necessarily these long track things. But
let's start with what we are at least getting word on in terms of confirmation on the ground. Let's go up to Lincoln County here in Tennessee, Park City area.
This one certainly has been on the increase. This one is a well-defined debris ball that has shown up in Lincoln County. We're talking about South Tennessee, south of the Fayetteville, Tennessee area. Unambiguous sign of the tornado that's located there. And if you could track that one for us, Sarah, we'll
let's time that one out,
see where that one is going. Follow that little debris ball off toward the north and east.
Northeast at 40.
And it's going to be going into areas north and west of Huntland up toward the Winchester area. So Crystal Springs, Smithland, the Lexi, the Broadview, the Asia areas, that is where the tornado is located.
So again, because Forbes, we have this debris ball here, we're confident enough to extend this out for you. You need to be making preparations for a tornado that could stay on the ground for at least a few minutes, several minutes.
Unlike what we had been talking about, the storms have lost that classic hook shape. This one in southern Tennessee, Lincoln County, does have that classic hook shape with the tornado and the debris ball right in the south end of that. The storm velocities are very strong. They're showing up in that, the strongest that we've been seeing for a while, the tightest rotation, and it definitely has a debris ball in it, the tornado debris signature. So all signs there, and actually we have sighting also, is that correct?
Yes.
Sighting of tornadoes with this one. All right, let's move
get
on
number
then
two
to
here, Winston County in Alabama. This is a tornado that we've seen on a couple of occasions now around the closest point at Poplar Springs.
And as we slide around there, I'm not sure. This is I think it's the next one up.
This is going to be Newton. So we're going in.
One more up the line there, sir. One more to the northeast for Winston County.
Gotcha.
There it is. It's the one that's east of it. No. We lost it.
It's for Decatur, 5 miles southwest of Decatur. That would be the storm.
Decatur.
All right, there it is, right there, Dr. Forbes. We got it. That's again coming in toward the meridian. So that actually is the old cell. All right, that's the storm we've been watching pretty much since Jackson. Move along. It looks like it's kind of cycling through again. Maybe rain wrap, Greg.
Yeah, indeed, and I'll just pull it up here in the high resolution radar. We're talking about the tornado right there about the Decatur area. This is one that is almost certainly to be rain wrapped. We're off to the north of Newton, Mississippi, around the Decatur area, and it is just advanced there as you see it. I'll show the velocities with that. It definitely has here the rotation. There is the tornado now just to the east of Decatur, and it has had 5 minutes. It has a little bit of a weak debris signature there. I can go back, step it back there, and it began to get a wee little tiny one there. So there it was 5 minutes ago. It is not a real strong signature, unlike the one we just saw in the Tennessee area, but you can see that it is heading off toward the east-northeast. Generally, it looks like it's a relatively low population area, but that also said, this is a situation where look at all the massive expanse of heavy rain with the tornado coming at the very end of that. And so we're talking about, let me put a marker here where the tornado is, that little green, the triangle. I'll put the marker there. We have rain for 20 miles out ahead of this particular storm before the tornado comes in, just preceded by probably the heaviest burst of rain of all. So this is a dangerous kind of a situation here, and it's probably going to go.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like there's a gap. I mean, the rain doesn't even end.
It doesn't end.
Boom, you're right into the tornado.
You go into the tornado. That it has turned almost into a little bit of a comma circulation. It's almost no longer, well, sort of transitioning between a supercell thunderstorm and now trying to become a squall line, become a line feature.
All right, so let's go to Winston County. Yes, let's go to Winston County, because this one we've had a tornado back around Eldridge, through Lynn, now through the Poplar Springs area.
All right, so we're talking areas here, Winston County off to the west of Cullman, that is, again, probably going to be in one of these little, very much like the one around Decatur that we just talked about, a little bit of a dog leg and a little bit of a circulation back there. It's not showing up as a real strong circulation, but still is in this general vicinity around the Arley-Addison area. Going to be heading off toward the area probably north of Cullman and south of Falkville area. But that's, again, going across an interstate and Highway 31, Interstate 65.
That circulation was a little bit stronger the last time you showed it.
Yeah,
but you know what? That doesn't mean it's going to go away.
And we're pretty far away. We're from the Birmingham radar and from the Huntsville radar, so we're not in exactly the best radar coverage areas either for this particular storm. So,
speaking of Huntsville, we may have a new image of your debris ball. Do you want to go back up to the north?
Sure.
In the Lincoln County?
New warning west of Tuscaloosa coming up, Pickens and Toluca County.
Okay, Pickens and Tuscaloosa County here.
Yeah, sorry, Tuscaloosa.
A hook echo showing up there around the Carrollton area and south and west of the Reform area. That will be a possible tornado there heading up toward Highway 17 north of the Carrollton area. And then coming across the Highway 82 area south and east of the Reform area. Pretty well-defined velocity couplet on that one heading off toward the Reform area. There we go. Let's try this one again. Heading off toward the Reform area, heading off toward the northeast. So this one is a little bit looking more like a supercell with the inflow notch there, rather than with the tornado sort of being right at the juncture between rain-free skies and rain that is wrapping around to the west of it.
You have just shown 4 different types of circulations. One on the back edge of a 20-mile rain shaft. The other one, which is clearly a debris ball, classic hook echo. Why are we getting so many different types tonight?
Well, we're sort of getting into a situation now where, with a lot of the winds at many levels kind of parallel, we're getting a situation there that the shear is favorable for the storms to line out. And so, especially now that we've lost some of the heating of the day, when the heating was real strong, some of that heating and the instability could overcome some of this deep layer, almost linear shear, and could still form supercells. Now that we've lost a little bit of that instability with temperatures cooling at night, we're going back to sort of the shear dominating things, and the storms are trying to line out, but still there's enough shear there that we can get at least these transient circulations that show up, and some of them are trying to have the circulation on the backside of the line where they fully have gone over to bow echo mode. Some of them are having circulations on the leading edge of the line where there's still more in supercell mode. So it's putting the old storm master to the test here, trying to figure out, and some of the circulations are not real strong. The one up in Lincoln County, Tennessee, certainly very strong. Some of the others are putting me and the National Weather Service to the test tonight to try to see which side of the storm the tornado is most likely on, and how intense is it likely to be.
All right, so is there anything you want to point out here, or do you want to go up to this Lincoln County?
Let's go back up to Lincoln County.
This is a dangerous storm. We've already got a debris ball, so we know there's a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, this one is one that is still a supercell thunderstorm. No trouble seeing that one. It really wraps around, hooks around, and the debris ball right in the southwest edge of that particular supercell thunderstorm.
So there was the right combination of instability and shear here, so we could actually get one of these classic supercells versus what we see going on to the south.
Yeah, indeed. And we're talking here, I've gone to the high definition radar, we're talking about the debris ball that's there right about halfway between Fayetteville, Tennessee and Huntland, Tennessee, and a very dangerous situation.
How wide is that?
The width of this one is, I'll put a little marker here so I can measure it. The debris ball is about 1.5 miles wide, and it definitely has a debris signature that is about also about 1.5 miles wide. We've seen
got a tornado emergency for east central Lincoln, more in northwest in Franklin County.
That's this storm.
That's
this storm.
That's this storm. That we have a debris ball. That's the same kind of debris ball that we saw coming into the Tupelo, Mississippi area earlier today. Now we're up in the southeast, the Lincoln County, Tennessee area.
What about the storm relative? We haven't looked at that, but it was incredibly intense earlier. So we're not surprised that we see the debris ball, and not surprised that we see the debris signature either.
Big, broad southeast flow, southwest flow coming in, and then right in there is the tornado signature. Let me show you the overall pattern to that. So that broad inflow, that's not part of the tornado. We're getting very fast winds there that I've shown that are just the strong inflow, and that's why the tornado is able to form. This storm is rotating like crazy. At least the storm relative values here at this particular location are 111 miles per hour right at that spot, if you can see my little pointer. And then the southeast bound, at least in the storm relative sense here, are 65 miles per hour. So we have have a 170-mile-per-hour difference between the inflow and then the rear flank downdraft flow. So an average rotation of the thunderstorm here about 85 miles per hour, and then the tornado will add to that.
This.
Yeah, there it is.
There's a
brand new image has come in. It has moved off a little to the north and east, has even tightened up the circulation there. That is an extremely tight circulation.
Now go pixel to pixel.
Yeah,
I mean,
large and extremely dangerous tornado.
Oh, look at all the debris there.
Yeah,
is that all debris, Greg Forbes, or is some hail
yeah, that's definitely. Well, there's probably some rain that's circling around that. All that blue though is the so-called tornado debris signature. But we know that sometimes that is wider. This is the tornado. This is some rain. Maybe some debris has been centrifuged out away from the original tornado, and so it's a combination. The broader thing there in the debris signature is a combination of rain and debris.
All right, let's define
Let's take a look at the velocities here.
Let's define these towns again. Sarah, did anything come up on that emergency in terms of the towns, where it is?
Yes, we've got tornado emergency for East Central Lincoln counties. Moore and Northwest Franklin County includes the towns of Smithland and Marble Hill, Tennessee.
Smithland, Marble Hill. So if you're listening to us, there is absolutely no question you are facing a dangerous situation. Get your family, get to a safe location, bring your shoes, bring a helmet if you can get one, because this is it is a tornado that's on the ground.
And places like the Herdlow area as well, Estill Springs as well, if it continues on a little bit further, this is a dangerous situation. Zoom in a little bit more if you could, Sarah, and show us what, so that we can see if there are the names of the other communities that could be in the middle of this. So yeah, take a little right from there. Take a little bit of a swath off to the north and east from this one.
This is coming out of the Tennessee Valley to up into the Cumberland Plateau, so very hard to see this, even though it's one of those signatures that you may see. If there's lightning that may illuminate it, for some of you, especially on the east and the southeast side, you're lucky, but again, folks, be very careful. This is a dangerous
Franklin,
storm.
Lincoln, and Moore. Just follow, assuming that it goes off right to the northeast toward Estill Springs there, Sarah, put a little tracker on just that little debris ball, because we know where the tornado is, and we know that while the National Weather Service is careful to give a bigger area, we know now that the tornado is in here. The tornado will not be in the middle of this heavy rain core, and so if it goes the way that and continues with this from this debris ball, it will be sliding off toward the north and east toward the Estill Springs area.
I'm going to do a little tracking here.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking to get a little tracking in this debris ball. There we go.
Okay, there we go. That's
and even this is a little bit wider than where the tornado will be, but this sort of gives us a margin of error up toward the 904, the Calls area. Estill Springs about 853. It's getting very close to the Herdlow area right now. Brownington, Stevenson, all of these areas, you are in the path, or potentially, if it holds together, in the path of this dangerous tornado that has a debris all of the debris signatures, as well as a sighted tornado.
Yeah.
With this.
Trackers, large, extremely dangerous tornado with this one.
Did they give a width at all? Estimate width?
No,
Sarah?
not thus far.
All right. Well, you know, here's the other thing. It's nighttime. It's nighttime. The sun is down. Again, unless this is illuminated by lightning, you're not going to see it. But does this surprise you, Greg, at this time of the night, or not?
No, I think it's an area where I'd still continue to give Southeast Tennessee a torque on of 6 overnight, and still have 7s for parts of Alabama and the areas south and east of where they are in Mississippi right now. So certainly conditions remain favorable for tornadoes.
I have a new tornado warning in northwest Georgia, Dade County.
Oh, that's southwest of Chattanooga.
Southwest of Chattanooga. Checking for confirmation on this.
Oh, look at that.
Let me see if before we go to that one, let me see if I'm able to show you. Yeah, there we go. I've taken a slice through this tornado there in Lincoln County, and so here is the tornado tube. Right about in there is where the tornado comes up, with the broader circulation of the rain that are wrapping around that. So we see certainly some evidence here up to about 15,000, maybe 18,000 feet of that tornado that is leaning off toward the north and east. So a dangerous tornado that we know is in progress. So what I did was I took a slice through that debris ball there. It's slid off now. It's moving pretty fast.
It's hauling. Look at that change. That's a 5-minute change as to where it's
5 minutes, and of course I was really zoomed in. The good thing here is that the debris ball has weakened a little bit. But the bad news is there's still a lot of debris, and it, in fact, has gotten even wider. And maybe shooting some of the debris beyond, we may be getting some of the debris lifted so high. I showed you the tornado goes up 15,000 feet or so. That some of that debris may be moving away from where the current tornado is. You remember back in the super outbreak 2011, we had tornadoes falling, debris falling out of the sky 20 miles away from where it was hitting Tuscaloosa. Some evidence that we're getting at least a few miles north and east of this, where the tornado is. We're beginning now to have debris that's been tossed out ahead of the tornado.
Yeah, so again, it's great saying you may not get the actual tornado, but you're getting the debris.
You could have a 2x4 fall out of the sky, even if you're not going to get hit by the tornado.
Let's look at this storm southwest of Chattanooga, because this is again Dade County, Georgia. You know, you can even use this Huntsville radar to get that, but you can see it here on the big picture here in extreme northwest Georgia. This is extreme northwest Georgia County. This is going to come right up again to the west of Chattanooga. It looks like a little hook echo here, Greg, like we're seeing with the other storm to the northwest, which has already had a debris ball. Yeah, there's definitely a hook echo that's showing up on this one. We're talking Dade County, and here's the high definition radar on this one. Again, it is a supercell. It has not yet fully formed the hook, but unlike some of the storms that have sort of begun to interfere down in Mississippi, this one sort of has some fresh inflow to it. I'm probably not getting the optimal speed on this particular storm, but there is a bit of the shear that's showing up on the edge of that circulation right about my arrow. So it is, I would say at this point that it is probably a tornado that is trying to form and heading off toward, probably up toward the area just south of Lookout Mountain near the Tennessee-Georgia border.
I've got it timed out to possibly Chattanooga on its current motion northeast at 35.
Also of importance, tornado or not, it is going to come across or to the state of the west of Interstate 75, right?
That is...
here it is, right here.
Yeah, certainly that looks to be the case unless it holds together into the area south of Chattanooga.
Unless it gets into Chattanooga.
Because Lookout Mountain, that is getting right into some of that area. So it is coming into some of the battlefields areas there from the Civil War south of the Chattanooga area.
All right, back to the high resolution radar. Do you see any rapid rotation, a tightening of that coupling?
Not on this one. We're still back at the original circulation. And the raw velocities are showing more an overall shear along the leading edge of this particular storm. I'm not seeing anything that looks, well, let me see. There's a lot of blue in here. Let me circle the blue, but I think that's probably in clear air. Yeah, the blues that are low correlation coefficients, you have to really have precipitation there for that to be a valid signal. Because so if we had that in here, we'd say that was a debris signature. But here in this very low return, that's just typically a noise of some kind that's showing up.
But at this point, this is a very dangerous storm.
Definitely a dangerous storm.
Definitely be wrapping up and creating certainly a stronger signature, and that means it could produce a tornado at any time. But what Greg's saying is at this point he doesn't at least think that there's a tornado on the ground. Sarah, this was radar indicated, correct?
Yes, radar indicated in northwest Georgia.
Right, I just want to make sure that I'm not.
And at this point, this is not an extremely tall storm either. I've just, while you were talking, Jim, I was taking a look offline here at some of the height of the storm. So it was only going up about 30,000 feet, unlike some of the storms yesterday, for example, that went to 50,000 feet.
Right. Let's leave that one, and maybe we should get down toward Cullman, Alabama.
So. We've got a new warning here.
Let's go down to Cullman, Alabama, because there's a storm there. It looks actually it's going to go north of town, but that's actually Cullman County, northwest Cullman County.
This, I believe, was the storm that earlier was around the Arley area. And again, we're not in the optimal radar coverage zone for this particular storm, but Cullman, Lawrence, and Morgan counties, you have a possible tornado there coming into the areas north of Jones, probably not very far away from Jones Chapel at this point. Do we have any kind of ground truthing on this one?
No, nothing on this one, just radar indicated at this time.
And I'm looking offline over here.
It certainly doesn't look like a strong couplet from what Sarah's showing here off in this where the tornado warning is. Go ahead and slide down, Sarah. Let's see what else we got in through here. This is an area where we actually had almost a solid line, if you will, with very, very heavy rain, but embedded storms that have produced occasional rotation, and certainly that's something that we're keeping an eye on. That's why these tornado warnings are coming out. And you know, like Greg was talking about, it's a little bit of a situation where you're going to get rain, you're going to get poured on, then all of a sudden, boom, here comes the tornado at the back edge of the rain. So that's something that, again, we're not seeing up in Tennessee and in northwest Georgia, where you have a better chance of actually seeing the tornado. In this case, it's rain, and then boom, you're going to get hit. Yeah,
if you've been watching, this is the storm that I said looks like it's trying to make a transition from being a supercell, and you can see these multiple branches or wings coming in, but it also has kicked out quite a gust front in these areas. Tornado likely to be sitting here pretty close to the Jasper area, if indeed there is a tornado in progress. But in one of the measures that I like to look at, it's sort of a normalized rotation that computes the change in velocity over a distance. You're seeing here that the shear along the gust front that I've drawn there, the white line, and then something off to the north of the tornado with not really any especially strong circulation right in around where, right in there is where the tornado would be. So
if back to that other display that you had, the normalized rotation, what would you be looking for if you were confident there was actually a tornado going on?
If this little ball was sitting there all by itself and didn't have this long tail coming to it, this would be an unambiguous, and if it had a yellow or red core in it with a stronger shear, this would be, you know, a more unambiguous sign.
So that's localizing the couplet or the shear.
Yeah, and what it does is that while what it does is it measures the velocity. What sort of you had me doing? I was looking at the speed in this particular pixel, and then the speed in this pixel, and doing a difference across there, and then it divides by the distance. That is what it's doing for me. So it was looking sort of in here and seeing this difference of speed and making that into a color. It was looking at this speed between just this grayish area south of the O in Cordova into the other second O in Cordova, and saying, well, there's a good bit of difference in speed across there. And so this is more of a shear line, a gust front signature, than it is if it were a single bullseye and had a stronger core to it. That would be more of a tornado signature. So we're doing some real-time radar interpretation teaching here on the fly here tonight, folks.
And we're all learning from you, Forbes. Looks like Chattanooga is now under a tornado warning. Is that correct, Sarah?
Actually, Jim, really quick, I got a tornado confirmed here just west of Meridian, Mississippi. This is Kemper, Lauderdale, Newton counties.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Law enforcement reports a tornado here. It's just north of I-20.
Yeah, very well-defined circulation there that is showing up in the area. Probably rain-wrapped, yeah, just to the south of Collinsville, just to the west of Meridian, west and northwest of Meridian. And
do you think the worst of that goes north of Meridian?
Looks like, yes. Okay. The tornado threat looks like it goes north of Meridian, but on the other hand, this is another storm that has got one of these gust fronts that is forming, so we could have some strong winds, maybe even damaging winds that are coming into Meridian.
Yeah, and so people leaving on Interstate 20, you know, you're going to be fine, maybe a few raindrops on your windshield, and all of a sudden you're going to hit a wall of wind that's going to come at you in addition to the rain there. So be careful. It's going to come in about maybe let's see, about 6-7 miles to the west of Meridian. Obviously, it's moving east, so it's going to come in there pretty quickly into the Meridian area. All right, so let's go up to...
oh, here we go. All right,
what do you want to do, Craig?
I was over here trying to find which radar I needed to pull up in my high-definition radar to take a look at this. So I finally found it. I've got about 4 or 5 radars open over here. So in the high-definition look to it, this is another one of the storms that's trying to make that transition. The bird wings coming in, indicating that we still have a supercell there, but it's trying to kick out this gust front with the strong winds on its south flank. So tornado rain-wrapped, as Jim was just alluding to, in all likelihood. Let's take a look at the velocities on this one. A broad pattern of velocity with pretty strong east winds, pretty strong west winds, but the distance across there, I'll put a marker here and take a look at that. The distance across between the two maxima is just about 5 miles. So that's bigger than a tornado. That you recall, that El Reno tornado was 2.6 miles. So this is there may be a tornado in there, but it definitely has a strong rotating thunderstorm that is pushing strong gust front winds over toward the Meridian and the Marion areas.
And one of the nice things about the dual pole is even if you have the rain going on, the correlation coefficient, if it has debris, we'll notice that different particle in there and obviously show a signature. We don't have that, right?
I'm not seeing that at the moment. Do we have a storm report on this?
The Meridian storm, yes, there was a confirmed tornado with this storm. Law enforcement reported.
And
so where did they report it, Sarah? You remember?
Well, we had a better signature. If I step back a couple frames
east of Decatur there,
we had a tighter, tighter signature. Let me step forward one more 5-minute time frame. And so this was one of the ones here that we were looking, and it had little bits of a low correlation coefficient, one of these debris signatures. So it may have, and may still have, but if it does, it's certainly rain wrapped and is in an area that's going to be going north of Marion, Mississippi, north of Meridian, Mississippi. But you sometimes get little brief tornadoes on the leading edge of these gust fronts, so I wouldn't rule it out for Meridian, Mississippi either.
All right, you want to go get Huntsville again on your high-resolution? Sarah, why don't you zip us back up there, because this is
we're there.
Stuff
we're in Tennessee. The Georgia warning has been extended now, includes Chattanooga.
Okay, yeah, that's
Tennessee.
what I was worried about. Oh, look at this, Greg.
Nice hook there, northwest of Chickamauga.
That's which way? What do they have this moving at, direction-wise?
Stand by. This is northeast at 30 miles per hour.
This is the area that we're looking at right in here, moving northeast at 30.
Yeah, this is the storm that is angling its way from extreme northwest county in Georgia up into Tennessee.
So this is an absolute threat for the city of Chattanooga. No question about it.
Yeah, indeed it is. And timing that out, as Sarah has done, we're talking about coming up toward the Chattanooga area right about 10:12. And I have this on the high definition radar now. Some hail that is also probably going to come into the north side of the Chattanooga area. And then let's have a look here at the velocities on this one. Has some circulation definitely showing up on here. That is heading right toward the Chattanooga area. The normalized rotation that I've been looking at, not extremely strong on this one. The debris signature, yes, it looks like there could be. Is that where?
I think we're farther southwest. Yeah,
no, we're farther southwest. Let me take another look at that one.
Right here. That's where the coupler was. So there's not much there.
Not seeing anything that's
yet
is unambiguous in terms of debris signatures on this one, but certainly suspicious. And if you were to use old-time radar interpretation and prediction and warning methodology, you would predict that the tornado would form right there and then head right up toward the Chattanooga area at the south end of that hook.
So why would you say, okay, it's going to occlude in a little bit and then or be on the leading edge of that ball?
Well, it has the hook there because the rain-cooled air wrapping around the thunderstorm comes out like this. This little bent back area, this is where the warm air is coming in, and then it gets lifted up and forms the hail part of the storm.
Right.
So the tornadoes like to form right at that interface where the rain is first beginning and making its closest approach to the inflow. This rear flank downdraft, the theories on tornado formation are that some of the west winds aloft get brought down in the rear flank downdraft and then push up against the southeast ambient flow, give a strengthened rotation source there that then gets quickly converted into the tornado. So in fact, maybe even that little spot there, maybe the tornado trying to form at this point.
Yeah, and for our viewers, you know, oftentimes we talk about the wall cloud. That's where you're going to find the wall cloud right where that tornado is going to form. So
yeah,
that's
the
what
wall
Greg's
cloud
talking
will be right in that area. Yeah.
All right, that's head up to that storm to the northwest.
Yeah, they've extended this into Coffee County, Tennessee. Last I've heard, still large, extremely dangerous tornado being tracked.
Even though it certainly does not look like this is the storm that had the debris ball on it.
In Park City has reported major damage.
Yeah, well, that was when it had a major debris ball. Greg was talking about, you know, maybe something that was about 3 miles wide in terms of the debris. The actual debris ball itself was about 1.5 miles. The actual correlation coefficient stretched beyond that.
We also had damage reported in Smithland, Tennessee, by the way. There is a tornado emergency that remains in effect for Franklin and Moore counties, but they took Lincoln out. But they did have reported damage in the Smithland area.
There is another tornado warning farther west of this one. We probably should go over to that one.
Yeah, that's the one Kelly's talking about.
Yeah, that's the one Kelly's talking about, yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at that. They had damage in the Smithland area, and is that heading up toward Tullahoma?
Tullahoma,
Tullahoma. I'm trying to get where Smithland is on this. It's probably a pretty small town. It may not even show up here.
Well, we had a pretty good signature on this one when it was in between the Huntland area, near Huntland. So
you know, let's step back. Can we step it back a little bit?
Yeah, we can step this back.
Then we'll see it where it was.
Here.
Oh, he's got it. All right, Greg's got it.
So I have it here. Let's see. I have to pull this up. So this is the storm that is that earlier
about 20
had
minutes.
this extremely strong debris ball signature on
this
that.
This is what Sarah was talking about, Park City with the major damage.
Yeah. And so I'll just step this forward. We were watching this one, that the debris was expanding, but the debris ball intensity was weakening. And so I'll just step this each 5 minutes ahead. And you see now that it's lost that debris ball, it looks like some of the debris is either getting left behind or is no longer there. So let me step forward one more spot here. So this storm that has had
Tullahoma right up here.
Yeah, we're getting close to Tullahoma. So this storm that has had a tornado with damage is not looking nearly as intense. But that said, it too is beginning to look like it is maybe gusting out with this gust front signature on it. But that said, it still has. We're still down right in about here would be the location where the tornado would be still located. I think I'm at the most. Let me go to the most recent time. I think we've had a new one come in. And so in this most recent scan, we're talking generally in this area that is heading close to and maybe just slightly to the west of Tullahoma in Tennessee.
All right, let's go back to the Chattanooga area. Greg, you can do that with your radar while Sarah calls up.
I've got it up here now.
What she's got. And again, it looks like it's come across. Well, actually, you know, it's hard to remember where the Georgia line is. It gets kind of screwed up up here.
It's into Tennessee now.
But it is into, yeah, it looks like it's into Tennessee. Any idea in terms of the downtown area where this may go, Greg? Could it be west? Again, we don't have a confirmation on the ground, right?
Yeah,
guys,
we do not.
Just tornado signature on radar.
Yes, just on radar.
Okay.
So I've pulled up now the high definition radar. What we know is that there's some big hail in the hook echo that wraps around this. It wraps around now. We're beginning to fill in the hook echo. So just to the west of Lookout Mountain, the tornado would be sitting right in there.
So you're looking at that radar signature shows you that there's a tornado trying to form.
Yes.
Those kind of little signatures that you're seeing.
But the velocity signature is also showing that it's kind of broad.
And open enough.
There's potentially right in there is the strongest indication of a possible tornado within this broad area of having a shear. Let's see, and right in here is one spot that has one of these low possible debris signatures. So somewhere right in that area is very suspicious between the white and the red dots that I've drawn. But that said, I'm not sure that I can predict whether it's going to make a little bit of a turn just to the north and west of Chattanooga, or whether it's going to go into the south side of Chattanooga. I would say at this point,
I have it timed out on my radar.
It is certainly fair game for any place in the Chattanooga metro. Okay, Sarah has it timed out here,
including Lookout Mountain.
So Sarah is allowing for some maybe movement to the left or right, and Chattanooga 10:02, Lookout Mountain 9:52, the Snow Hill area 10:30 Eastern time here, as we have now taken the storm. This is the Georgia line here. So at the very beginning of this, it was in Georgia. It has moved out of Georgia now up into Bradley, Hamilton, and Marion counties in southeast Tennessee, including the Chattanooga metro area under the possibility of a tornado here.
On her radar, we just got a new image.
New image came in.
It does not look like as dramatic a hook, certainly, as it did. And it looks like there's some pollution coming up, some more rain that's developed in northern Georgia coming into Tennessee now.
The high-definition radar has not yet updated, I don't think, with a new frame, but it may do so here momentarily. But the high-definition radar is continuing to show pretty well-defined hook echo with, as we were showing, the tornado in that open area.
Sometimes if you play it, it kind of adds another picture, but play it and stop it. But
there it is. It just came in.
Okay,
so indeed, it is not looking as well defined in the high definition radar now in this latest scan.
That's pretty mountainous terrain.
So the other thing too, Greg, is if there was going to be a tornado, it would be almost right over Chattanooga right now.
Yeah, I think what has happened is that we have had the rain wrap all the way around now and is closed off. So I think the tornado was probably in the bear's cage, surrounded by rain. Let me see what kind of velocity signatures we have. Right about in. I try to get another color here. Right about in here is the most likely location of the tornado. The that is works out by the the normalized shear. And let's see if we've got any debris signature. Nothing in there that is these blue colors like we've seen in some of the others. So certainly a possible tornado there. One that may very well be increasingly wrapped in rain and would probably be heading now off in the west and the north sides of the Chattanooga area would be my best guess.
And you know, for the viewer watching us, whether you live in Chattanooga or not, to just look at this and just see how close you are. We're watching this frame by frame, what looked very impressive and to be a dangerous situation for Chattanooga didn't turn out that way. And you're going to be certainly in town. You're going to say, well, we really didn't get much. A little heavy rain, some gusty winds, all the big hail is off to the northwest. But again, we're close. It's amazing how close we are to dealing with a tornado. I mean, look at the storm that developed off to the northwest.
Well, and indeed,
in Park City and caused the damage.
The distance between here, where the most likely location of the tornado, somewhere in between the south edge of this rain and the north edge of this rain, the distance to Chattanooga is only 4 miles. And so if it goes at a 30-degree angle from that white arrow that I've drawn, it goes into the north suburbs of Chattanooga. If it goes straight east, because it's becoming sort of outflow dominated, it goes into the south side of Chattanooga, and there may not be a tornado at all. But certainly, I'll say before, I don't think we can, in this kind of a context, I don't think we can be absolutely sure. Certainly not going to tell you which street any tornado is going to hit. And I think the entire Chattanooga metro area has some chance of a tornado here, but we don't have a definite location. So
you still think there's a chance for a tornado in Chattanooga?
There's still definitely a chance of a tornado there in Chattanooga, but it's certainly not the debris ball kind of thing where we can exactly know to at least within a mile of accuracy where this tornado is going.
All right, but I just don't want viewers at home to go, wow, they scared us. They told us there's a tornado potentially coming, and nothing happened. But what I want you to understand is just how, as Greg was saying, there's still a chance for a tornado, number one. Number two, just how close these things are to happening. Sometimes they don't happen. That's the biggest question. What causes a tornado out of a supercell and what doesn't?
Well, and that's
we still haven't answered that.
And that's the case. Yeah, there's as many as about 5 supercells that have strong rotation, even down pretty close to the ground, that could produce tornadoes for every one that does. And on the other hand, if you're someone in the National Weather Service, you want to put out a warning, just so people are aware. So people have to be tolerant of what may or may not be a false alarm. But there's certainly, I'll zoom out again a little bit on here, and we certainly have the kind of a storm that has been a supercell kind of signature. It has definite kind of, the context is that you would have in this little kinked area between the main body of the storm and where the gust front is kicked out, the possibility of a tornado right in there. Just not one that we can pinpoint, certainly enough of a threat that you would certainly want to be warning the Chattanooga metro area of a possible tornado coming in there. But not guaranteeing that's going to be one. This is one where you'll be happy to have had the warning, happy to have taken shelter, happy if indeed nothing happens.
All right, and again, that's the point, is just how close you are to it. And as meteorologists, as scientists, we try and tell you everything we know about it, what we're seeing trending wise, and why you may or may not get a tornado, even though you have a warning. You absolutely have to put out the warning if you're the forecaster.
So again, we're talking about Bradley, Hamilton, and Marion counties, where right now the most likely location of a tornado seems to be very close to the Chattanooga area. It may also be heading off toward the Cleveland and the East Ridge areas. Probably the East Ridge would be, if it took a little bit of a turn to the right, for it to hit East Ridge. East Ridge is to the south and east of Chattanooga.
That said, very, very heavy rain developing here. This whole thing looks like it's a massive rain, even back toward Nashville. All right, Sarah, let's get a look at down the line here into Alabama and Mississippi. A lot of stuff, especially on the tail end of this, still in Mississippi. Greg Forbes.
Indeed. And Sarah, you say there's a new...
the Lauderdale County, this was a new Meridian tornado warning east of Meridian.
Alrighty, so here's Meridian, Mississippi. This is the Alabama line. So we're talking about an area south and west of York, Alabama, very close to the I-20 area where it comes across the Mississippi-Alabama line. Lauderdale County with a possible tornado warning. And again, the kind of situation where we're getting these broad rotations that are embedded in the line. This one I think we've talked about before, having a gust front with trying to be making the transition to a comma cloud with a rotating head, and there you're sort of seeing that the rotation here north of Meridian.
Sorry, new warning for Pickens and Tuscaloosa County here. Wanted to get this one in before we go out really quickly.
And all right, so this one is going to go just to the north of Tuscaloosa, and this is another storm that's coming generally toward the Samantha area.
And more than likely, if it impacts Tuscaloosa, it's going to impact Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham is over here in the far right. So most of the storms earlier have been running off farther to the north in Alabama. We're slowly but surely creeping closer to the Birmingham metro. The first storm now, with a severe thunderstorm warning on that, is coming into the west and northwest suburbs of Birmingham. And there's no guarantee. Slide up to that one, Sarah. You can see there's some rotation on that one. There's rotation not as strong on the lead storm, but this one, the severe